Hello, this is April Dykeman with Lofty. Today we're talking to Erin-Marie Wallace, owner and auctioneer of Wallace Auctions and Appraisals, who's also the only auctioneer and auction house owner in the Southeast with a master's from Sotheby's Institute, London. Hi Erin, thanks for being here today.
Hi April, thanks for having me.
So tell me, how did you get into this business and how did you get interested in ceramics in particular?
I love that. That's a great question. I have always been a fan of antiques, and through antiques what I've learned is they tell you a story about a particular moment in time in a way that reading a book can't. With ceramics in particular, the allure of ceramics to me is that generally their chemical makeup is such that something made hundreds and hundreds of years ago still looks almost exactly the same today. So you could look at something, let's say a china service made for Thomas Jefferson, and you can look at it and know that you're looking at almost exactly what he received when he ordered it. I think that's a really fascinating thing that doesn't hold for a lot of different types of antiques and wares. I've got an example that's from my collection that I wanted to show, and this is a little Vietnamese bowl right here. And this was shipwrecked in 1450, and it stayed underwater for 500 years. So think it went through, it went through medieval, Renaissance, Mannerism, Rococo, all the way through postmodernism. It was pulled up in the 1980s. It's known as the Hoi An Hoard. And I mean, you can still see the blue and white decoration. It was under the water for 500 years. And it is. It's held its own in a way that really only metal can when it's been under the water that long. And so for me, that's always been the allure of it, is you're holding something that someone made over 500 years ago, and it's right here in my hand.
What is the market like today for ceramics?
It is volatile, just like every other collector ware out there. What I would say is that the great things are great with a giant capital G. Those are the things that are bringing 10, 20, multiple millions of dollars in pounds at auction, and then also in retail settings. Mediocre ceramics, things that are just considered mid-range, which is a lot of ceramics that were general production over the last 100 years, have really sort of flatlined a little bit. You know, my recommendation to collectors is always to try to find, and I know you hear this a lot, the very best of the thing that they can afford. And not that you should collect you should collect because you love it, not because you're looking at the investment of it, but you do want to try to stick with the best thing that you can afford, because that has the chance of going up in value. My little Hoi An bowl is a really good example of this. This piece itself is actually worth less than $100. But if you had one of the larger bowls, if you had a big, beautiful ewer that big or so, suddenly you're going into 500, 1,000, 1,500 pretty quickly. For me, this is just a great example to keep on my shelf. But if you were looking for something to go up in value, go with the best thing you can possibly get, because those are often running, while everything else right now is kind of holding steady.
And you and I have previously talked about 3 things for collectors to consider when buying ceramics. So let's dig into each of those. The first is quality, or how an item was made. So what should collectors know about quality?
Quality is really important. You want to look at it, you want to look at things like, is it hand painted versus was it transfer printed? So really what you're looking at for a piece of ceramic, in my opinion, you want something that's stunningly hand painted. I mean, as beautiful as possible, as opposed to something that is what they call transfer printed, which is more like a print on ceramic. I've got a couple examples of both. Both are good examples. This is a vase by a company named Royal Bond, and this is all hand painted, and it's just beautifully done. You know, the flowers really kind of jump right out at you. It's a great, great, great example of its kind. And then right behind me over here, it's early. This is about 1850, but this is a transferware platter. If you find a rare scene, they can be worth quite a bit of money. But in general, if you're just sort of generally enjoying yourself collecting, I always say until you know exactly which direction you want to take your collection, try to find things that are hand painted as finely as possible.
Okay. And the second thing that you've said we needed to know about is condition. So tell me about that. What are the kinds of things that we should look for?
I've got a kind of field guide that I wanted to sort of pass on to people, to the person that likes to do garage sales, general auctions, maybe they love to root around in the antique stores, and there's a few things to look for. The first thing that I would recommend is you need to bring a couple things with you. You need to bring, this is the coolest thing ever, it's this little tiny flashlight that has a black light in it. And when you shine a black light onto a piece of ceramic that has restoration, you can see it. So this is a great thing to take with you. And if you've got a second, I think I can give you a pretty good example of how it works. Let's see. Rob, will you grab the lights for me? Okay. This is a 19th century Majolica pitcher. Usually they're worth a couple $100 at auction, give or take. And this guy, his lip is entirely restored, and you're really not going to know when you look at it. It's done pretty well. If you feel it, you might feel that there's a slight difference in the texture of it, but the way to be sure would be to say, to someone, do you mind, it sounds awful, but do you mind if I take it into the bathroom or into your back room or into somewhere where you can turn the light off? And with this, if you shined the black light all the way around it, let me see if you can see it in the mouth. In his mouth, you might be able to pick it up. You can see a difference in hue of the rest of the ceramics. I don't know if we can get it dark enough to really show it here, but his entire little lip has been restored, and there is, you can kind of catch it here, but there's a difference in color than from everything else. And when you see that, it's just a surefire giveaway that it's been restored. And I think it's a good thing to know, what restoration is too. Restoration isn't like somebody's adding ceramic to something that's broken. Restoration, they're resins, they're plaster of Parises that are used to reconnect the ceramics, and then they're painted over, and they're painted over with like enamels or paint, but it's not the same type of glaze. It's not a glaze at all, really. And so it has a different feeling. And it's really good, especially if you've got somebody that you can trust, to ask them to show you some pieces that are restored. You can go ahead and flip the lights, Rob. Thank you. To ask them to show you some pieces that are restored, because once you begin to, it's one of those things that once you begin to learn what to look for and how to feel a piece with it, they jump right out at you. And it's a huge difference for a collector. The little dog that's behind me, this is an early piece, and this little guy, normally at auction, you'd be in the low thousands for this, maybe $1,200, sometimes $2,000 if people really, really want him. In this particular case, the little guy's been restored from the top of his neck to the top of his base. So his value at this point is more curiosity. It goes down by anywhere between 60 and 80% when something's been restored. If my second point, though, would be if you're trying to figure out, is it restored, is it damaged, close your eyes and feel it. Feel with your hands, not your eyes, because your hands will be able to feel a difference in texture. If you run your hands along the base or the rim of something, your hands will pick up a chip before your eyes will. The Royal Bond vase that I have behind me is a good example. I mean, the painting on it is stunning. It's this fabulous, beautiful, really luscious vase. But if you were to close your eyes and put your hands on it and not be so excited about the painting, what you'd feel is that it's broken in 3 places right here on the side of it. And you can't see it. Somebody glued it really, really well, but the minute you start looking, the minute you feel it, it'll jump right out at you. So you've got to trust your fingers before you trust your eyes, because your eyes will lie to you, but your hands won't. Which would then bring me to my last thing that you need with you. You need a really good loupe. And this will let you take a really nice, close look at things. You can get what they call a 10 times jeweler's loupe. We like to use 30 or 40 because you can really get into the nooks and crannies of things. And then this one, I won't shine it right on you, but this one also has a light on the bottom of it. so I can light things up if I really need a good look at them. There's all kinds of fun toys that you can use.
And then getting back to our list, the third thing to know about is Rarity. So tell me about that.
Rarity is where the research comes in. I had somebody, one of my mentors once said to me, if you really want to make money in the business, you have to specialize, or you have to specialize as opposed to generalize. And that's knowing what is rare and where, and how to find it and how to recognize it. And the cute little dog's a really good example of this. This is an early piece of Royal Dalton. Anyone would know that. It's stamped with the Dalton mark on the base. But the only way to know exactly how rare it is to have, let me get this book for you. The only place it's listed in record is right here in this book. It's a little skinny one. It's out of print. It's called Royal Dalton Advertising Wares. It's right on the cover. And then he's right here inside. There's information about him. But if you didn't have the book, you really wouldn't know how rare he is. So that's where research plays a big part in any kind of collecting. You don't want to just collect willy-nilly. You want to focus. Find something that you love. Advertising wares is a great one. Breweriana is a really hot thing to be collecting right now. Even if it's figurines, or maybe it's German figurines with parasols. Learn everything you can about them, because then you're going to know which ones are the color variations, which ones are really, really rare mold, which ones have you never seen before. And that's how you can buy effectively and actually make money at what you're buying.
Okay. And so once you've figured out what you want to collect and you've started collecting, what should people know about how to take care of ceramics?
A great question. The easiest way to clean ceramics is to have a bunch of Q-tips and a little bit of water and a little bit of soap. If you have something with gilding, like that pretty floral vase I showed you, and you tried to use something like Windex to clean it, the components in the Windex can pull the gilding right off. I mean, like that, and they're gone. You can't put them back on. So you want to be very careful. You don't want to use solvents. Windex can also pull restoration off. And so you could buy something that you had no idea was restored, or maybe you did and you loved it anyway, and you went to clean the grime and suddenly you're cleaning off like a really well done piece of restoration because the Windex is too strong. So I always recommend just stick with water, stick with a tiny, tiny little bit of soap to go with it, and a little bit of elbow grease. And I think it's much better served than getting into a world of solvents or heavy cleaners or detergents.
Okay. And so if somebody is collecting and they want to learn more, to dive in deeper and get to know the market more, where should they go?
I still say books are a great direction to go. There's fabulous books out there, just like the advertising wares book that I have, that haven't been put online yet. And so the only place you can learn about these really cool, wonky rarities is if you have the right book. So I start with definitely some great books. Museum collections are perfect because the museum collection, 98% of the time, they've cataloged it correctly. So what you're reading that it really is, which is a great way to learn. I also say get your hands on things. Find a couple dealers you connect with well. Find a couple friends who collect the same thing, who know a little bit more than you, who are going to let you handle their collection so that you can get that's a big part of it. You have to feel ceramics. It's a very tactile thing to collect, unlike most paintings that you're going to look at. Not that I love paintings, so there's nothing wrong with a good painting, but with those you look more with your eyes than with your hands. Most ceramics were meant to be touched, and so to ascertain what they are and what their value is, you want to go to people who will let you touch them and who understand what they are to teach you. Very good auction houses are another great outlet for learning because, generally they'll pull anything out of the case and let you put your hand on it. And if it's a reputable auction house, they've cataloged it correctly. And then my last one, for back stamps, just for somebody who's, doing some backyard sleuthing on their ceramics or something that they were handed down from a family member, you can usually find good references for back stamps on different online databases. You can just do general Google searches for like German ceramic back stamp, and there's some great free databases that will pop right up for you that you can access, that's a great place to start. It's just not where you finish your research.
Great. Thank you for being here today, Erin.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks, April.
And thanks to all of you at home for watching.